Hello, hello, hello everybody, and welcome back to round number 4 of the Tier 1 season here in LRC, and we are here today at none other than the Circuit Imola for the start of the European season. My name is Coolest, and I am very happy to be joined once again in the commentary box by Alpha Max Nova.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Imola Grand Prix. I'll try to, I would say not butcher the track name or the corner names, but it's kind of difficult due to my main language, so we'll try and commentate as best as we can this race session here. So, qualifying is starting, as you can see, and what are the odds today? Who is going to be the fastest one?
Oh, that's what we're going to be looking to find out. The first thing I'm going to have to do is turn up my game sound, because that is incredibly quiet. Give me a second. I put it up to 5, that should be okay. Let's see. Can I find the Williams? Oh, the McLaren will do. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. So, we are here at Imola, and as you say, we are going to be looking to see who is quickest. And who is quickest last week, at least, is Elias, who's still in the pits at the moment. But yeah, Lemarias, he got his first win of the season. It's not the first time he's crossed the line in P1, but with Stewart's accounts, Stewart's decisions applied, that was his first win of the season. So he is going to be looking to continue that form, especially being at Ferrari today, here at their home race. No Monza this season, so this is their only chance to get a good result. As well as Loris will be returning today. He had well, an unfortunate end to his race last time. He was running quite well in the race, had some very good pace, but then, unfortunately for him, just an accident towards the end after the safety car restart took him out, and yeah, he's going to be looking to get some revenge for that today. Of course, he did win the first race back in Bahrain, once the steward's decisions were applied, and so he's, yeah, been a bit of a mixed bag to start his season.
But yeah, now we can see as he started his flying lap, and here in Imola, it's actually quite difficult to get a lap straight, let's say, because there are many different kind of sections. The main straight is one place where you want low downforce to go as fast as possible, but then you are, let's say, welcomed by quite a few fast corners, like the variant of the Tamburello, and then this one's going to one towards Tosa. Actually, I just remember it's called the Villeneuve chicane. Then Tosa. Now, down with the power, easy to spin out there because it's a uphill section. And then we go towards Acqua Minerali after this section. Let's see if we can keep it inside track limits, and it looks like we can. Let's see here, another difficult braking section because you have to turn while braking. Very on the limit on the exit, and now towards Variante Alta. Let's see what he can do. Braking very late as possible, and climbing the curbs a little bit wide on the second curb. And of course getting as better as an exit as he can. And now towards the last two corners, let's see what he can do here. If he can keep it inside track limits, or he will touch the gravel by going a little bit wide. He doesn't. So last corner here, very important to get a very fast exit. DRS will get open right now, and it's gonna be a 1:14.6, which is currently P1, but of course we expect many people to go even faster, especially considering some little bit of iffy and Wi-Fi over there on the lap.
Yeah, there was a few mistakes in there from Loris. First chicane was not the tidiest from him, caught the one of the many massive sausage curbs around here, so he's going to have to make sure he doesn't do that too much. As you can see, Malb, who's one of the reserves for today, getting out of the way. I'm not sure of which car. We have Bacon Boys here, or Welps, in the McLaren, making his way down towards turn 2, I should say. I did get that wrong last time for some reason. Tamburello is the second corner on the track. Don't ask me why, I don't know. So heading now into Villeneuve. Very fast, very tricky, decelerating chicane, but Wells makes it look easy there. On his way into Tosa now. Of course, the McLaren driver had, well, I think the last race that he attended, I think, was Jeddah. I didn't see him around in Miami last week, so yeah, he's going to have to, I suppose, make up for the week off. Seems to be doing that fairly well so far. Seems like a decent lap, so he descends down into Acqua Minerali. Obviously, is a very tricky section there to stay within track limits. I can say from experience, especially on a controller, with the precision drive system, it's incredibly difficult to get right, but seems like Welbs is doing okay so far. He's a bit conservative though through Variante Alta, and I think that might cost him a bit of time. We'll see as he gets towards the end of his lap now, as Tamer has beaten Loris's time, and Levente Kiss has beaten Tamer's time with a 1:14 flat, so very good lap by the Haas driver so far. And what will Welbs be able to do here? It is only enough for P7, so still some time to find.
Yeah, as you can see, very difficult track to navigate because either you go all out in some of the corners, risking to get, track invalidation because of track limits, or, either you take one of the big sausage curbs in some of the corners, like the Variante Alta, and these cars don't really like high curbs, so you may know how it ends up if you take one of those.
As Malb now goes P4 at the end of his lap, so decent start, but still, we're 7 minutes into the session, 6-7 minutes in, and a lot of people haven't set times yet. Gateshi doing some lawn mowing there just to keep the circuit nice and tidy, and he's invalidated his lap, so that will be, I presume, why he's just rushing to get himself back to the pits. And yeah, we have quite a few reserves to date. We have Blazer, Yokata is now full-time at Haas alongside Levante Kiss, and a new full-time Mercedes driver for today. We have, well, not for today, for the rest of the season, of course, CPI Nardo, who is going to be replacing the outgoing Fred, and then Slinks, and a few other reserves who I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that's the rough rundown. Only 17 people, not a full grid, unfortunately, but I'm sure still plenty enough to give us some very good racing action later on.
And so the fateful question comes once again: in which lap we will see the safety car today?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's almost certainly going to happen at some point. We did have 2 in the end last week, which is, to be honest, as Blazer gets a huge snap of oversteer there, having to cut myself off, but keeps control of it fairly well in the end. But yeah, we did have only 2 safety cars last week, was probably around about what I was expecting, to be honest, but both of them were right at the end of the race, so the drivers did a fairly good job considering it was Miami, another street circuit. We're back on, for only the second time this season, onto a permanent course, so clearly LRC mirroring real life F1, and Blazer just inventing his own racetrack here.
I mean, it's mowing a little bit of grass. He may need it in the race if he goes wide here, even though I don't think it's one of the sections where you actually go wide, but you never know.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows? We might have people taking some interesting lines. Maybe if we get 6 wide later on, then maybe somebody will be out there again. But I'll hope for the driver's sake that won't be the case, as Tammy, I think, oh no, he's just on his outlet, but he did just invalidate there, if that means anything to him. I'm sure it probably doesn't. But yeah. He's one of the drivers who was looking very fast last week and came oh so close to getting the win. Of course, was pretty much robbed at the death by Elias, who learned from his experience of having the same thing happen in Jeddah to make the move into the final corner using the DRS and got himself the win. So Tama today will be looking to get revenge, I'm sure, and is currently on the right track to do that as he gets ready to start his his second flying lap in qualifying.
I find it quite funny, because the whole, how can I say that, the whole discussion about city tracks, street tracks, and then actual race tracks, like you say, Imola. Because I remember, like, back in 2006 when Imola was on the Formula 1 calendar, but like it was the last time we saw it before the long break, before it came back in 2020, sorry. Imola was actually a very difficult track to have overtaking maneuvers happening. So it was like Hungary, which is, as you know, a real circuit, but it feels like a street circuit because it's very difficult to overtake. So I feel like Imola in the recent, let's say, patch, let's say like this, became a little bit of a better race circuit because it's easier to overtake, especially on the main straight with the DRS. And there's a mistake from Taylor, sadly, on the Variante Alta. But yeah, this is what happens when you push a little bit too hard. But I mean, you have to push hard in the qualifying, otherwise it wouldn't make too much sense. But yeah, what was I saying? Imola used to be very hard to overtake. Now it's not because there's the DRS, and this makes a little bit for a little bit of a better circuit than it used to be. But opinions and opinions are opinions, so we got racing today.
And we have also
Ainado goes into P1 with a 113.4, the first 113 we have today.
New provisional pole sitter and a very strong time as well, I have to say, from the new driver, of course, like we say, replacing Fred, and seems to have picked up exactly where Fred left off, at least in terms of raw pace, that is, and he seems to be going for another lap straight after here, despite having what looks to be very low battery, so either that or it's just a rapid in-lap. I did see he was down in the first sector, seems to have backed off a little bit now, perhaps, I'll say that hesitantly, but yeah, either way, we have Tamer now back into the pits after his mistake. Loris about to cross the start-finish line here, and no, he's not able to improve. He was 3/10. Well, it said he was 3/10 up, so maybe he did improve actually, but not able to improve his position.
He improved, but sadly he didn't actually manage to overtake Tamer on the leaderboard, so he's an improvement, but it could be better, let's say. But still 7 minutes to go, so there's still time to find and time left to go.
And we have Elias now, finally setting his first time of the session, and is only good enough for P2, and 2.5 tenths off of Nardo, and that is from the best driver in qualifying so far this season. And that is, I would have to say, a very concerning sign for the rest of the drivers, as concerning sign for Nardo is stopping on his way into the pits, just making extra sure that he doesn't get a penalty that he wouldn't even be able to get in qualifying, but oh well, maybe getting some practice for the race. Don't do whatever you did there. Yeah, Elias, though, I think might be a little bit surprised by that, and might be surprised to find that he's got some very strong competition today in the form of the new Mercedes driver.
We know that we expect a big battle between the two, but we also know that the battle will probably be decided by many external factors, like it usually does here in Tier 1, so it's going to be quite a fun race, I think.
Yeah, definitely. There's, like I said, with such a narrow track, I mean, Imola's even, it's actually a lot narrower than Miami in most parts, just with the walls a bit further away. So, yeah, we'll see what the drivers are able to make of this one. A lot of tricky chicanes to go wheel to wheel through. Usually ends in, well, usually ends in disaster, but we'll see what the drivers can do this time. Perhaps if they can have many crashes in Bahrain, then they won't have any crashes here. Or maybe I'm being optimistic, I don't know.
Well, yeah, we'll have to look, because the first overtaking spot is right here at the Tamburello chicane, but you know that in Imola, if you want to go brave enough, there are many other overtaking spots if you really want to try it. For example, here on the Villeneuve chicane, if you are close enough, you may even try another overtake here. Or in Tosa de chicane, which goes then to the Acqua Minerale section. I mean, way before the Acqua Minerale section, sorry. Could be another overtaking spot, even though you have to be really close to the car ahead. So probably it's gonna be an overtaking spot for people like on new tires against people with older and harder tires. And then, you know, Acqua Minerale can also be an overtaking spot if you're brave enough, even though I wouldn't really suggest it. So.
Yeah, it is a lot of if you're brave / stupid enough, there are a lot of places that you can make moves here. There's a good number of heavy braking zones. As Timberlake not really taking the optimal line there on his first lap in qualifying here, makes his way through turns 2, 3, and 4. But yeah, into Variante Villeneuve. There's a lot of chicane names to remember here, but I'll do my best, I promise. And yeah, we'll see what the Alpine driver can do on his first lap in qualifying here as he heads towards Piratella. This is probably one of the safer alternative overtaking zones, although Timberlake again a bit wide there. It's not been the cleanest of laps. Does seem to be using battery still though, so we'll continue to ride on board as he climbs back up the hill out of Acqua Minerale. And now towards one of the hardest corners on the track, into the Variante Alta, and again, just very conservative through there, and actually he has, run out of battery, so I suspect it might be back to the pits for an emergency pit stop with only 3.5 minutes to go here.
I mean, there's still time, but this doesn't feel like really a qualifying lap from Tim. I think it's more like a race practice, something like this. I think he completes the laps and keeps the P14 place with a 1:17.6, which is not really a fast lap time. But we know that usually starting on the back of the field doesn't really mean that you're not gonna have a good race here. So we'll see what happens after these 3 minutes and a half. Let's say tick down.
Yeah, well, we're going to see things are about to get very hectic. It's been quite a calm session so far, but I suspect that's all going to change very soon. So we have Hashima on the end of, well, I believe on the end of one of his laps here. We'll see in a second. He makes his way through the final corner. Is he still using battery? Indeed he is. So this should be the end of a qualifying lap here for the Ferrari driver. What can he do? He goes P6. So good improvement there, showing strong pace again, just like he did last week. Although, unfortunately, last week was not the cleanest of races for him and wasn't able to get any points in the end. But yeah, we'll switch over to the driver he just let by, if I can actually find where Max Gunn is. He's down in P13 at the moment, so he will need an improvement on that for sure. Only 1:15.6 for the AlphaTauri, and I would expect he can do quite a bit better than that, so we'll wait and see. 0.2 up in Sector 1, as I think everybody's just starting to make their way out onto the track now. Only 2 and a bit minutes left in the session, so a few people leaving it a little bit late, but I think everyone will be okay as we make our way through Piratella now. Maxcon on his way into Acqua Minerale. What can he do? Can he keep it within track limits? Looks like he can. Yep, very nice and tidy there. Gets the power down. Heads up towards the next chicane. He's now 3/10 up, so finding plenty of time here, although perhaps not as much as he'd have liked, and he's very conservative through Variante Alta there. Just completely avoiding the sausage curbs, which I have to say is not the quickest way to go about it, so might be in a little bit of trouble here for Maxcon. Obviously, no elimination system, this will just decide the grid. He's got nothing to beat other than himself, so heading towards the line, what can the AlphaTauri driver do? It is going to be only P8, and not really with enough time to set another lap here.
I feel like P8 is still a good race start position, and it was actually a pretty nice qualifying lap, I think. As you said, he went through the chicane, the Variante Alta, quite conservative, but I can actually understand that because, trust me, those sausage curves will kill you if you take them too much. So I feel like it's better to take a little bit of a safe bet and start maybe a little bit far back than not finish a qualifying lap to get at all and start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, perhaps that is a good way to go, just going for the less risky option. And yeah, he has got himself at least P8, but I suspect that that position might cycle down a little bit as the final times start to come in, and the first of the final laps will be for Bacon Boys here in the McLaren. And we'll go on board again here as he makes his way into Villeneuve, but he's wide there, very wide, just about keeps it within track limits, but that will cost him a lot of time, and he's a 10th down through the first sector, so not the best start to his final lap in qualifying, as we have Nardo here, who's making his way through. He was a lot closer to the apex there. He's just ever so slightly down on his personal best first sector, so we'll see. He might yet still be able to improve, and well, I suppose an improvement on that lap time would be a very concerning sign for the drivers trying to chase him.
Ooh, very close to the limit though. This guy is like on rails, I have to say. Like,
does look like
I've never seen a car so planted here in Imola, so
I'm intrigued to see him through the chicane here. And look how much curb he takes there.
Jesus.
That's how you do it. And yeah, this is why the Mercedes driver is so fast. He completely hops the inside curb, and looking like he's got a fabulous setup because the car did not budge at all. No twitching whatsoever. Nails the line through the final 2 corners at Ravazza there, making his way towards the line. What can Nardo do? Can he raise the bar higher? Yes, he can.
Yes, he
can. Not by much, but he can improve. And can anyone respond to that? I think it's going to be a very tall order. Elias making his way through the final turn now. He's second at the moment. He's the closest driver to P1. Can he get even closer? He can get closer, but not close enough. And it's going to be Nardo then surely on pole position, unless somebody's got an absolutely magical lap to beat him now. But our new driver is looking very quick here.
I find it quite difficult to see someone here beating his lap time, because you see during the onboards and actually during the broadcast, like seeing the car itself, that Mercedes looked planted, very stable during every single corner, every traction zone, while every other car seems like to struggle a little bit with traction or maybe having a little bit of a moment towards the corners. He actually is stable every single time, and I feel like that's going to be quite crucial to actually have a great race pace and a qualifying pace like we can see actually here today.
Yeah, and that is going to be, well, Levente Kiss got very close to beating Elias's time there and almost managed to bag himself P2, but just, what was that, 7,000ths of a second short, so clearly it's going to be a, well, perhaps the Mercedes of Nardo might just be out of reach for the win today, but obviously we will see what LLC has in store. Usually there's it's never quite as straightforward as that, and yeah, if that isn't the case, then I reckon we might have a very good battle on our hands here. But yeah, we'll take the time to, well, we'll wait for the game to go through all of its scenes, and then we'll run you through the grid order. Here we go. So it's Nardo at his home race, no less. Did not know that. So yeah, Nardo, home race, first race, P1 in qualifying, and by 0.2 of a second over Lamau Yes too. So no small achievement there by him. And it's going to be Levente Kiss in P3. Tama wasn't able to improve at the end of the session, so he starts P4. Loris with a solid P5 ahead of Malp, who jumped up 2 places on his final lap, gets himself P6. Then it's Ferrari, the second Ferrari in P7 as the best qualifying constructor at their home race today. They'll be happy with that, I'm sure. Then Cooper with a solid lap to get himself P8. Maxcon ends up staying P9 in the end, as not that many people did improve by the looks of things. Yokata P10, I Like Trains 11th, Kateshi 12th, Blazer 13th, Bacon Boys 14th, and Timblesh, Davy, and Slinks will round off the grid. So we will head to a short break and give everybody a chance to get themselves set up for the race, and we'll see you in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Alright, welcome back everybody. After a prolonged break, we are here for attempt 2 at this start of the 4th round of the Tier 1 season here in Imola, and as we said, it is going to be a clean restart, so first attempt has been disregarded, and we're going to do this one from the top, from the qualifying order. I think one of the drivers wasn't able to make it to this restart, but we have the other 16 here, and ready to give this one another shot.
Are you ready up?
Yes we can.
Okay.
So yeah,
So,
what first restart?
what do you
I
expect,
can't remember.
Max?
There was no first restart.
Yeah, it was so long ago I don't remember it anymore.
I mean, yeah, it's the first restart here, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, totally, definitely. Okay, well, what are your predictions for the first start here then?
I don't know, maybe a turn 1 overtaking maneuver going right, I think, and many people racing.
Lots of racing and all perfectly clean. Nothing will ever go wrong. I think that's a perfect guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite a peaceful race, I know, and nothing bad is gonna happen.
And it is time to get the race underway. No, we do have a formation lap. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. I was expecting we were going to skip that one. But no, formation lap is on. And it is going to be, just like last time, the same tyre strategies. I hope. Yep, there we go. Same tyre strategies. So it's going to be exactly the same as last time. We're going to do it from the top. And hopefully this time, things are going to be a little bit cleaner.
Bro, what are you talking about? There was no last time. This is the first race time. The first race start we see. Don't you remember?
Dude, if you gaslight me hard enough, I will actually believe you. You can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, we are ready for the race start here in Imola. We just finished qualifying a little bit ago. We had a little bit of a break because of Codemasters moment. So
yeah, I just sort of blacked out for a moment. I don't really know what happened. Anyway, we have Nardo, as we saw in qualifying. That just happened. We have Nardo is going to start on pole position. He's on medium tyres. Then it's 2 hard runners for Lamoyes and Levente Kiss in 2nd and 3rd. Tama is going to go from P4, and that's exactly where he started last race, which he led until the final corner. So let's see if he can go 1 corner further this time and get himself back on the top step of the podium. Then it's Loris in P5, the only soft runner, and yeah, still going just as mad as before. Obviously, the rules do mandate he selects the same strategy, so no chance of regrets for him. And it's going to be Malb in P6, Hashima P7, Cooper, who is now back in the session, in P8, then Maxcon doing some lawn mowing, as everybody likes to do here, in P9, then Yokata down in P10, Maxcon holding up the grid a bit here on the formation lap, as he always likes to do, traditionally. Then, yeah, Yokata P10 on hards. Then I Like Trains, Blazer, Bacon Boys and Davy are the last of the medium runners outside the top 10, and it's Kateshi and Timblesh, the only 2 outside the top 10 on hard tyres. So that is the recap, and we can get ourselves ready as some shenanigans go on as people make their way back onto the grid. But yeah, we can get ourselves ready for what is hopefully going to be a nice, clean second attempt at a start, or first attempt, I should say.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing bad happens here anymore, so we are getting ready for the race start.
And this one is going to be very exciting. Keep your eyes on the lights. Here we go. It's 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we are racing here in Imola. And who's going to be quick off the line? I think this time it's going to be the Mercedes who gets a good start as they head towards the first corner. We can finally get a better camera angle. And can everybody keep it clean this time around? Elias is going to try it once again. Round the outside he'll go. And this time they do make it through in the right order. And it's going to be everyone through cleanly. And it's Nardo who's going to hold the lead. I did speak a bit too soon. And now we've got, it's Red Bull of Cooper. And I think, is it Kateshi as well? It's both McLarens, in fact. Bacon Boys and Kateshi and I Like Trains all getting involved. So that was on the exit of turn 3. And yeah, we have had chaos here, but thankfully everybody still in the race. There's now 3 wide here. That's up towards the front of the field. That was Lamauias, Tamer, and Loris getting very close together. Tamer's gotten past Loris, but Loris is going to... sorry, that's Loris trying to get past Tamer. We're going to go right round the outside, completely off the track, almost making contact, but he gets the move done, albeit in dubious circumstances.
And we'll have to wonder if that's a legal overtake, because he went a little bit off the track, but everything is good here, and we don't have too much of a chaos start like it usually happens. And as I say that, we can see the virtual safety car for some unknown reason, because I don't think there was an actual crash here somewhere.
No, it does not look like it. So, yep, just a nice commentator's
Oh yeah, no,
curse
actually
there.
there's a McLaren without a front wing, so I think probably something has happened between that McLaren and his teammate.
Yeah, that is Kateshi with no front wing this time. He's so perhaps another mistake after the first one. He's going to have to come into the pits, but it is only a virtual safety car this time, so I'll have to be ready for that one to rescind itself at any moment. Tim Bleish also has to come into the pits, presumably for damage, along with I Like Trains, and I think Bacon Boys as well. Yep, he's going to be in too, so those guys all having to basically go for the third restart, I suppose, of this race. But yeah, virtual safety car still out at the moment, and it is going to be Nardo with a 1.5 second lead. So yeah, the fight in between P2, 3 and 4 was yeah, very beneficial for the Mercedes driver.
Yep, but it's still, you know, you don't win the race at the first lap, so he still has a lot of job to do, and we already have 2 penalties for virtual safety car infringement by Cuba and Hashima, I think it's called. And another yellow flag
for
a crash.
Blazer. There's been an accident up at Piratella, and a massive accident at Piratella, no less. We've got 2 cars out of the race and spinning to avoid there. Now, Cooper, I mean, he does well to keep himself in the race, but it's at the expense of his front wing. So, yeah, the chaos couldn't keep itself off for too long, because we've got a full safety car out now. It's Blazer and Davey this time, who've been both taken out of the race. No clue what happened, but that was right on the safety car, or on the virtual safety car restart. Everybody had, well, just started getting back up to speed, but immediately safety car is going to be out in full this time, and we have a lot of cars with a lot of damage here.
So, ladies and
into
gentlemen,
the pits is our race leader.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in to see the race, this is what in racing terms we call a shit show. And as you can see, we got the first safety car of the race on lap 2 out of 32. And also the leader in the pit lane, not for damage thankfully, but just to change tires, and also a little bit of penalties just to add to the, let's say, to the circus, for a little bit of speeding into the pit lane and safety car infringement. So nothing is missing here for a good race here in Tier 2. Or Tier 1. No, sorry, it's Tier 1.
Yeah, yeah, the Tier 2 has been the clean one this season, so Tier 1 has unfortunately let the standard slip a bit. According to Davey in the chat, it seems like he's... well, he has some kind of issue with whatever happened with Blazer, apparently braking a bit too early, or something like that. Either way, yeah, we'll have to wait for the clips for stream to see, well, hopefully see whatever just transpired there. But yeah, 2 people out of the race, and well, we made it 1 more lap without a safety car this time, although we have already had a safety car and a virtual safety car, so yeah, not the best start, unfortunately. But hopefully the 3rd time's his charm, and we'll be able to do a little bit better on the 3rd race restart.
Speaking of race restart, let's see now what the strategies are for all the people, because many people, actually 5 of them, didn't pit, so we got like Jokata, Maxcon, Hashima, Tamer, and Lamauias still on tires they started on, while everyone else went into the pit lane either for damage or for, you know, damage, removing penalties, or either just getting new ones for speeding into the pit lane. But the most interesting thing I wanted to point out is that people actually changed strategy into something more interesting, mainly our race leader, which is of course the Mercedes. I didn't actually see which tires he went on to, and I can't actually tell you because right now the game is paused, but as soon as I can, I'll tell you. So, just one moment.
Sorry about that, there we go.
Oh, no problem. So, as you can see, where is it? Nado is on the hard tires, and I don't think he's able to go to the end of the race because we are just on lap 4 and, you know, there's a big way to go up here. But he changes strategy, and he's probably thinking about, you know, trying to go a little bit longer on the first stint and then maybe trying to go a little bit aggressive later on in the race. Also, interestingly, well, we got Malbo into the pit lane for, I guess, a tire change, I don't know which one, and also Tim Blash on soft tires, which is interesting because it means that he's gonna charge like hell in the second half of the race. Second half.
Yeah,
first half, really.
Yeah, it's the classic Tim Blythe strategy, do whatever makes the least sense and hope it works. I mean, it has worked for him before, so we'll see if it works this time, as Mal was serving a penalty, I believe is why he came into the pits there. So it's pretty smart from him, able to get that one done and dusted under the safety car, and as there is only 13 runners left in the race now, he only drops back to P13 with a set of medium tyres. But yeah, quite a few people did indeed stop onto fresh hards, which was, yeah, as we say, the leaders of Nardo and Loris. So both of those guys using my strategy from the Tier 4, not Tier 4, the Tier 2 Season 4 race here in, well, they're on F122, which ended up getting me the win of the race, which was to pit under the first safety car, even though it shouldn't have worked at all. So we'll see if it works for those guys. I don't know how much the tyre wear has changed since last year's game, but yeah, it worked for me, and those guys are a lot more skilled than I am, so we'll see what they can do here, and I would have to say that for Nardo at least, that is probably going to be a good strategy if there are no more safety cars to the end, which is a very big if.
Yeah, I expect at least 2 or 3 more safety cars at least. And safety car is in this lap, which is quite a late call, I have to say, so we're gonna go back racing right now.
So it's going to be Elias then, who does not really have much time to prepare himself. He's going to have to hope that he's got his tyres up to temperature, but he gets the throttle down now and gets a good restart here, and is able to get the jump over Tama, who's coming under pressure from Hashima and Maxcon, and quite a few moves happening already, perhaps in the background here. As you can see, Nardo is not going to be wasting any time. He's going to go right around the outside of the Haas of Yokata there and get himself up into P5, so great restart by him. That's exactly what he needed to do, and now the two Haas's making contact. That was Yokata and Levente kiss, and Levente able to get up the inside and get the move done, so everybody makes their way through Villeneuve and makes their way through cleanly. I think Malb did drop back a bit, perhaps a mistake on the exit of turn 4, but otherwise a clean restart so far.
And let's see if we can get to the end of this lap without, you know, crashes, yellow flags, or many other silly stuff that usually happens. And we got
oh my god,
we got a very near miss.
Yeah, the lag really put some extra fear into my heart there, but thankfully we've made it through clean, but not now, because Yokata's been tagged around. Yeah, Yokata's been tagged around by Alec Trains going for a very opportunistic move. The Haas was moving quite slowly, but still, that was a bit of a dangerous one. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like anybody involved has picked up damage, so we are going to continue on, but unfortunately, it's still not going to be in very clean circumstances. So, yeah, thankfully, still green flag running though, and long may that continue, and hopefully, once the field does start to spread out a bit, things might just get a little bit cleaner. But we have Hashima straight into the pits here on 4-lap old hard tyres, so perhaps he must have got some damage.
I think it's a drive-through.
Yeah.
He had a penalty for, I think, a virtual safety car infringement, so I think he's serving it right now. Or at least I think it is. I'm not sure at 100%, but it should be.
Yeah, and what we just saw there, that was Levente Kiss, I believe, or we caught the end of at least. Levente Kiss making the move to get past Nardo, so making the most of those medium tyres and getting himself up into P3 now. Meanwhile, Tamet also on the medium tyres, all over the back of Elias, and might be looking for a move of his own, perhaps somewhere in the middle sector, but seeing how that's gone so far, he might be wise to just be patient and wait for the start-finish straight.
Now, we just wait for the next big maneuver of the race, because meanwhile, while CPI Nardo is using his 2 laps fresher hard tires to race against basically everyone who didn't pit in the first half, we also have a battle for the current lead of the race between Tamer and Lamau Yes, which is looking quite tight, but of course not DRS just yet. And it's gonna be quite aggressive once the DRS gets enabled just now, let's say, after they get through the start-finish line. Also, Tim Bash gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits, but that's... Let's say the
big slide. That was Levente Kiss there on the exit of Rivatsa. Sorry to cut you off, but
oh, no problem.
Yeah,
that was
just
scary.
Heart and mouth moment. Yeah, heart and mouth moment for him, I'm sure. And well, somehow he's actually not been passed by the Mercedes. Apparently, the drift is the way to get a good exit. He managed to get a great little run down the start-finish straight there. So the Haas just about stays in P3, but for how much longer? Because Nardo all over the back of him here, even with the tyre difference. He's seeming very quick, just like he was in qualifying, and after having made his first pit stop, is still only, what, a tenth of a second, or so, but not a tenth of a second, only a second behind P2, and then only 2 seconds behind P1. So things are looking very good for Nardo right now, and for Loris likewise, but I think once we get to the end of the race, those guys might just start to struggle with some tyre wear, and obviously, there's always, as we say, the threat of another safety car.
Yeah, but also as we said during qualifying, every place in Imola is a overtaking spot if you're brave enough. And right now, I think Naldo is feeling quite brave because either he's waiting for the DRS zone and maybe a little bit of a more safer overtake, or maybe he's actually thinking of another overtaking spot around the track. And as we said before, there are many overtaking spots if you're creative and brave enough.
Yeah, and well, seems like at the moment everybody has finally spread out a bit, as Loris seems like he's just done what Levente did this time last lap, but we do now have DRS finally, I think for the first time in this race, so let's see if that changes the complexion of anything, and here we go for the lead, almost going for the move was Tamer there. He closed up rapidly with the DRS, so I guess that might mean he's running a little bit lower wings than the Ferrari driver, or just that the DRS is very powerful. Either way, we're going to wait and find out, and yeah, he's going to have to sit in behind for the time being, but I think that suggests to us that we are still going to have a race on our hands very much here.
Yeah, I feel like more than having low downforce or maybe a very high top speed, I feel like he used a lot of overtake from the battery. So sure. maybe he just used a lot of it to keep close, but of course he didn't complete the maneuver because there's really no need to do it right now, because right now, the more you battle, the more time you lose, and the more time you lose, the more the main threats, which is of course the Mercedes, gets closer. So you don't really want to get too flashy, let's say, in this first half of the race.
Yeah, you've got to play it sensible and try to think of the long game. Unfortunately, some of our drivers haven't really been doing that so far, but it seems like things have settled down just a little bit so far. And yeah, we're on lap 8 out of 32, so still plenty of time left to go. And yeah, it is just a bit of patience here, and let's see what kind of patience our drivers are going to show now with everybody so close together with the DRS. How are things going to shape up into turn 1? Tamer is going to be going for it straight away here on the outside, and he'll get the move done before they get to the corner. But what about Levente Kiss? He's going to be side by side with the Ferrari driver. There's a bit of contact off the track. They both go by the looks of things. Indeed it is. And Elias forced off the road there with some very robust driving, I have to say, from Levente Kiss, and I don't think he's going to be very happy about that, but whatever the stewards decide, that does mean that Nardo and Loris now are both free of the 2 cars ahead of them, and only have Tamer separating them from the lead of the race after making their pit stop.
So now we are back into a battle, and the Mercedes went a little bit wide towards that corner, and now the situation is quite interesting, because of course we got the Ferrari and the Haas out of the picture. I mean, they're still there, but of course not ahead of the group anymore. And now the battle for the lead is between Loris, which somehow ended up right here, Nado, which of course we've seen he has been fastest through qualifying and I guess practice too, even though we didn't really broadcast that. And now he's gonna probably try an overtake right now in the DRS zone. So let's stay on board with him, see what he can do. Let's see if he also uses overtake, which of course he does on the exit. Now DRS gets open, and I don't think it's gonna be quite a contest, because top line speed and everything is more than enough to get onto the lead of the race on lap 10 out of 32.
And meanwhile in the background, here goes Levente Kiss again. He's going to do exactly what happened last lap, right round the outside, but this time he gets it done cleanly, gets ahead of Tamer, and makes a little 2-for-1 move there, because he got past Loris at the same time. So yeah, Levente clearly running very low wings here, which is making him an absolute bullet ship on the start-finish tree. Oh, yeah, good spot there. That is not going to be helpful for Nardo, so 3-second time penalty. That's not going to be too damaging since he does have clean air at the moment, but he's not going to be able to serve that one in the pit stop, so that will be there at the end of this race now, so he's going to have to keep that in mind, but so far he's seeming to have some very good pace and already pulled out an 0.8 of a second gap, but we'll see. Levente, if he can keep himself within DRS range, he is absolutely still a threat in this race.
Yeah, not only that, but of course if he can somehow keep pressure up on the leader, he can also hope for another mistake and maybe another track limit violation, and so a 6 seconds penalty, which would make, you know, racing for the lead a little bit easier, because we've seen that Mercedes going really fast, so this is the only hope probably right now these people have to get the race win.
Indeed, so let's see what happens this time around. Levente has indeed stayed well within DRS range, but let's see, what is that straight line speed going to do? We'll ride on board with him as he heads to turn 1, keep an eye on Tamer and Loris as well, but here we go, rapidly closing up to the Mercedes. Is he going to go for it? No, he's too far back. That makes the sensible decision there, and yeah, Tamer and Loris stay in the same order as both of them did have DRS, so it's all stable for at least a lap here, so we'll see how long that one lasts. As meanwhile, we have the 2 Alpha Tauris who are fairly close together, but seemingly not getting in each other's way at the moment, and they would be having a very solid result as things stand. in P6 and 7, so we'll see what they can do for the rest of the race. But yeah, the main focus is of course on this battle, and Loris seems to have some very good pace on the hards at the moment.
And I've also spotted the Hess of Levantikis. He's actually very, very low on battery power, so I think it's not gonna go for an overtake just yet. He's gonna try and keep into DRS and recharge the battery as much as possible. Because without it, if you try to get ahead and then you are still in the DRS range, as you can see, it's very hard to escape here in Imola. So it's gonna be quite a strategic battle here, and there's yellow flag for a crash for, I think, Malb on the back of the grid, which I think spun towards the Cambrella corner. So he went back racing again, but of course not really an optimal, let's say, line through that.
Yeah, I think that was from contact with Tim Bleich there. I think those two tried to go side by side through Tamburello, and as we've seen many times already today, that didn't end quite so well. So unfortunately, Melb is now going to be even further behind the rest of the field, but who knows, there may yet still be more safety cars. So Levente, as you rightly pointed out, he's a bit low on battery at the moment, still flashing, not really been able to save too much up, and is pretty much exactly where he was this time last lap. So we'll see what he can do, but the problem is he's got to be careful not to trap himself in the cycle, really, of having to use so much ERS to actually stay within DRS that he's never actually able to keep enough to actually go for the move. So we'll see if that happens, but so far he seems to be keeping it fairly stable at around 0.7 of a second, but yeah, perhaps he's having to use a bit more battery than he'd like to do that, as meanwhile it's still Loris all over the back of Tamer, and he might be about to go for a move here. Seemed to have a much quicker run through Aqua Minerale, but yeah, into Variante Bassa is not the place to be making an overtake, and indeed he's not going to do that as Malb retires from the session in the pit lane.
Variante Bassa? Anyway.
Yeah, wrong one.
I mean, it's Variante Alta, but I mean, it's funny because, you know, Variante Bassa is like the lowest one, which is where the hell is it? But yeah. Anyway, as I was trying to say, Levante is actually stuck in a little bit of a cycle, because right now I think these mediums are getting slower than the harder tires. So even though he can try and keep himself, I mean, well, we'll also see a battle for the P3 between Tamer and Loris, but oh yeah, sorry, there was the Aston Martin retiring, so I was wondering what the yellow flag was for. But the main thing I want to say was Levantikis is in this situation where he can use the DRS to try and stay as close as possible to the leader, but of course these tires will start to let off more and more compared to the leader, so he has to try and hold on as much as possible and then decide when to go to the pit lane before it's too late. So it's gonna be quite a difficult race to manage for him. And meanwhile, another penalty for Nado. So yeah, as I said, big pressure, big mistakes from the leader.
Yeah, he's definitely been kept very honest by Levente, who's actually closed up a bit more now. He seems to have a smither more battery, that's the technical term, than he had before. And we'll see if he's able to make any use of that on the start-finish straight. But yeah, it's those guys have started to open a bit of a gap up to Loris, who's now in third place. That is what allowed him to make the move, because Tammy dropped out of DRS range. So yeah, we'll see if the field starts to separate a bit here, but I think as a result of, well, the Nardo and Loris both having made their pit stops already, it's going to be a case of, well, having to play the strategy perfectly for Levente, Tamer and Lamau Yes to see what they can do on the fresh tyres at the end of the race, because if there is no safety car, they are going to lose a whole heap of track position to these guys.
Yes, of course, but also you have to remember that most of the people who actually use the safety car to do a pit stop are probably not going to go to the end of the race, because the safety car came up in the lap 2 or lap 3. So
yeah, it's hard to say though, because like I say, I have done the strategy before. I did finish the race on 77% tyre wear, I think it was. As you see, Alec Train seems to be having a bit of tyre wear of his own out of turn 6 there. But yeah, it is possible for them to go to the end if they manage their tyres, and perhaps that is just what Nardo's doing at the moment. Maybe that's why he's not showing quite the same pace that he had in qualifying, but only time will tell on that front.
Nah, brother. Let me tell you, I'm quite sure that Nardo is actually pushing. He's not, he's not keeping his tires in check.
Yeah, well, in that case, if they do have to stop again, then this is anyone's game here, and especially with those 6 seconds of penalties, it could be very interesting towards the end of this.
Yep, and also, as I said before, Levantikis surely has to beat sometime soon, so he's actually out of DRS for now, but of course he had DRS at the detection point, so he's gonna get a little bit closer, but I think in this lap he's probably gonna lose it. And meanwhile, we can see Tamer getting past Loris once again, and into turn 1, thankfully it's a clean maneuver.
Yeah, makes it through nice and tidy, just a DRS pass there, so those two switching places seems to suggest that perhaps Timer does still have a bit of life left in those mediums, even though they are 14 laps old and even older than Levente's ahead of him, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I suspect that the tyre wear might be a little bit lower than people are expecting, because obviously Levente has still got some good pace, although he has just now dropped below a second to the Mercedes driver, so perhaps that might change the complexion of the race a bit here, now that he's not got the toe, and the DRS as well, more importantly, down the start-finish straight, so we'll see how that affects things, but meanwhile, this battle for third place seems to be where the action's at the moment, with Loris now eager to make a re-overtake move on Tamet. I don't think those two are going to be staying in the same place for very long, and now they're going to have Elias right on the back of them as well, and still not really been able to recover from that, well, I'll call it a mistake earlier in the race, but it was, yeah, more so just an incident.
Anyway, if I was a pilot right now driving on mediums, I would start to think about pitting, not in this lap,
And there you go.
but probably
No,
on lap 16 to 17, mainly because, as we can see, there are many people on hard tires that went all the way from the start to here, and, you know, lap 16, 17 is about half of the way through the race. So if people can get hard tires up to this
contact.
point, big mistake
Sorry
from
to cut
Loris.
you off. Loris spun round, and I think that must have been contact with Elias there again here. So just like we saw on the first start of the race, Elias tried to go around the outside by the looks of things, and Loris just been pinched in at the apex. So he's not lost too much time, but that is still 5 seconds, and he's going to be out of the fight now.
I mean, temporarily yes, but if a safety car happens, he's still there. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, we are halfway through the race, and we know that hot tires can get at least halfway through, and probably a bit more. So right now, I think it's the right time for many people on the medium tires to take their pit stop. So Maxcon is one of the people who could do that, but of course Levantekis is probably the main candidate for a pit stop right now because he lost DRS, and he has really no reason to keep going on the medium tires right there, because he has people on the hard tires which are gonna be going faster in a little bit of a time. And also we have Tamer getting a little bit frustrated by Jakarta as traffic, and you can literally feel it by the way he's waving his wheel right now. And now he gets through and tries to go once again, heading for an undercut strategy on the other competitors there.
And meanwhile, we have Leventekis into the pits once again for another set of mediums. He had stopped already, so that is a valid strategy for him. And yeah, he's going to be on a set of medium tyres to the end here, so that will be... that should mean he's going to be slightly quicker than Tamer, but we'll have to wait and see. Tamer was able to get past Yokata there, who just very kindly moved out of the way and led him through, which I think is probably the sensible decision. So good to see some sense in the or behind the wheel today. There hasn't been too much of that so far, I'm afraid to say, but yeah, everybody getting their pit stops in now as Tim Blythe picks up a 3-second time penalty. It's not ideal, but his race wasn't exactly going to plan anyway, so I don't think that's going to change too much for him. But yeah, up at the front of the field, it is still Nardo who's going to be leading the way, and we're going to have to wait and see if and when he comes into the pits off of those hard tyres. I do agree with you. I think he's probably going to have to, because I think if he stays out, he's probably going to be well within to puncture region. So yeah, we'll see when he decides to do that, but I suspect he might even try and stay out to go into a set of soft tyres at the end of this one.
I mean, you could try, and probably it would be a good idea to try and stay on, to wait for the soft tires at the end, considering that he has that penalty and he has to, you know, pull off a big ass gap at the end of the race to try and keep that first place. But at the same time, there's this, you know, he's at the point of the race where other people pit. Other people went onto the medium tires, which at this point I think they can actually go to the end of the race. And you know, I think you should just bite the bullet at this point and try and go for your pit stop at this point, not wait too much, because the more time you lose, the more time you wait, the more time you lose. And then once you go into the pit lane, then you end up behind the people you were trying to race, which is not optimal on a track where it's hard to overtake like this one.
Yeah, it's a difficult balance to find between track position and also being on better tyres, or fresher tyres, tyre advantage, whatever. So yeah, we'll see what happens there as we have Tamer now right on the back of Kateshi. He's closed up a hell of a lot in that lap as Kateshi does some lawn mowing on the inside, as is fairly customary here in Imola. That must be about the 5th person to do that today. But either way, Tama will appreciate it. He gets through nice and easy up into P6 and will now continue his charge to see if he can get back after Levante Kiss on the medium tyres. So yeah, Levante, purple in Sector 2 apparently. Don't know if that's actually true because the game does like to lie about purple sectors, but yeah, seems to have some very good pace on the fresh mediums, and that is exactly what you'd expect, as now into the pit comes Elias for a change of tyres, and he's going to be onto a set of medium tyres to the end of this race now.
Now that I think about it, maybe he's really going for the soft tires, because if you think about it, probably lap 22 is the point where you actually can start to think about soft tires for the last stint. So, you know, it's not that far away, so he can just hold on a little bit longer just for it. If I have to guess,
yeah,
at least.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the strategy play for both Nardo and Loris at this point in the race, so we'll see how that works out for them, and we'll see as Hashima picks up a penalty. He's unfortunately at the back of the field as things stand. We've now got Yokata into the pits for his last stop of the race, failing any safety cars, but yeah, speaking of penalties, Nardo does have 6 seconds, and that is the most out of anyone in the field, so we're going to have to see if that comes back to bite him at the end of the race. He's going to be the quickest car once he pits onto soft tyres, which is what we're expecting him to do, or even if he goes onto mediums, he'll still probably be the quickest, but I don't think he's going to retain the lead. And now, into the pits, here we go. Let's see what tyres this Mercedes is about to go onto.
So which is going to be mediums or softs? We're going to find out very, very soon. And this mediums.
And it is mediums, so playing it safe, that's probably, yeah, sensible call, I think, from him. If you were going to softs, you'd definitely have to stay out a bit longer, and perhaps Loris is going to do exactly that. I would suggest that, considering the unfortunate spin exactly here a few laps ago, that might just be the better call for him. But yeah, I think for Nardo, safe option is to cover it off, and it is going to be him behind Levante Kiss and behind Tama as well. So let's see what he can do once he gets those tyres up to temperature, but he's going to have to make the overtakes here on Tama and on Levante. Oh, he did, yeah. That's out of Villeneuve there. Loris, a mistake, this time all of his own doing, and that one is going to well and truly unravel this race. He might have been able to recover from the first one, but another mistake for Loris here. That's exactly what's been plaguing him in past seasons of LRC, and unfortunately, that's might have just cost him a chance at a podium here.
Yeah, and as you can see, Levante Kiss with a whole pit stopper ahead is now catching up to him, and I don't think it's going to be quite a battle, considering the difference in grip. Old tires versus new, softer, medium tires. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite a contest, so we're going to see now the DRS zone, how it's going to play out, but I don't expect a big battle, and there's another penalty for Nardo, so that's another nail in the coffin for the Mercedes driver. Yeah,
it's not looking good for him with all of these penalties. He needs to be a lot more careful than he's currently being, because at the moment, what he would have to do is overtake Levante Kiss, who now overtakes Loris, who's into the pits, and yeah, unfortunately things aren't going the way he'd have wanted, but he's going to have to overtake Tama, which I think he might be about to do here, and then he'll have to get past the leader and get 9 seconds clear. But first up, can he get past Tama? Indeed he can, nice and cleanly, just using the DRS, and yeah, he's going to be on his way now, and he's going to have to make an almighty charge if he wants to win this race.
I think it's quite unlikely, especially considering that there are like 11 laps left to go, and if he really wants to pull out a 9 seconds gap, he's gonna have to go like a whole second faster than this rival every single lap from now to the end of the race. So it's not gonna be very, very easy from him.
Yeah, so we can see just Kateshi and Cooper there, who've both been into the pits, and I think Cooper's actually going to come out at the back of the pack. Indeed he is. So yes, unfortunately, despite being given a second chance after he was ruled out by Codemasters in the first one, unfortunately things aren't going too much better for him, but we'll see what he can do towards the end of the race. Obviously Hashima with 9 seconds of time penalties, his day is not going particularly well, despite having good pace once again, as we've often seen with him, just not been able to be clean enough, and so yeah, might struggle a bit towards the end, as meanwhile Loris now, who came out of the pits in P7, now has another time penalty to add to his misery, and yeah, things just haven't gone to plan for him today.
Well, I mean, sadly for Loris, his race turned out to be, you know, the classical Alfa Romeo race in Formula 1. So he's still in the points at least, but it's not going to be quite as much as he would have expected at the start of the race. Meanwhile, back for the battle of the lead, we can see Nardo now in the DRS zone of the leader, which is of course Levante Kiss, and with a big task in his hands, which of course either letting Kiss having a little bit of a mistake himself, and then maybe having himself a 9 seconds penalty, which is probably the most realistic option to get a race win, or the one who is probably gonna go for having an overtake on the leader and then pulling out a 9 seconds gap, which is not gonna be easy. But of course, neither it's gonna be impossible, and we've seen many impossible things here in this league. So we're gonna see how it's gonna pan out in this race. So now going towards the last 2 corners of the race, of the racetrack, and then into the DRS zone, which is of course the main overtaking spot. Let's see what the Mercedes can do.
Yeah, it's you can't rule out anything here in LFC, as we've already seen plenty of times today. So let's see what Nardo can do. He's going to be straight past with DRS here, you'd imagine, even against Levente and his fairly low wing setup. But yeah, breezes by with the DRS wide open. So now he has 10 more laps of this race to try and extend a 9-second gap to the Haas behind him on the same compound of tyre, albeit a few laps more worn. So let's see what he can do. And he's going to have to do that as well without accruing any more penalties and making his job any more difficult. Meanwhile, obviously, Levente is going to have to do the same thing, I suppose, keep things clean and try not to get penalties of his own. Meanwhile, we've got battles further back in the field. Loris is going to be going for a move here on Maxcon into turn 1, or turn 2, I should say, and gets it done nice and cleanly. So I think Maxcon has actually just lost 2 places in a row there, and now Loris is going to go for another one straight away, is he? No. Thinks better of it and tucks in behind I Like Trains for now, but not for long. Gets right up behind him, hits the back of him. Now Maxcon's going to have a look up the inside into Tosa here, but no grip to be found on the curb, so he's going to fall back out of that battle. But yeah, Loris, who is on soft tyres actually, it's important to point out, I don't think I actually mentioned that one before, he's on soft, and that is why he's so quick right now. He's going to size up a move into Aqua Minerale perhaps, look into the inside, is he going to go for it? He hits the back again of I Like Trains there, so getting a little bit frosty between these two. Loris obviously presumably a bit heated in the cockpit after how his day's gone so far, but not able to get the move done just yet.
Yeah, but I think I hope he's gonna wait for the DRS zone, because it would really make sense to overtake before the DRS, how it's called, the DRS detection point. So yeah, he's gonna wait a little bit more longer. Meanwhile, we can see Tamer battling with Lamau, yes, once again for the podium position. And note this, Levantikis is just in the DRS zone, but I think it's gonna lose it in this lap, because he's just right now over the DRS detection, which is of course 1 second. Meanwhile, battle between Loris and Alpha Tauri. Let's see, Alpha versus Alpha, how it's gonna end out. Well, the Alpha wins on the Alpha, and of course the Alfa Romeo of Loris against the Alpha Tauri of I Like Trains, which is now in P6.
Very well explained. You did a good job of that one. Yeah, we've got Tamer. Oh, Nardo! Nardo's made a mistake. He's out. He's spun out of Aqua Minerale. Safety car is deployed, and the attempt at winning the race, doing the impossible, is not coming to fruition. Nardo, of his own volition, again, that's what's plagued him today, much like Loris, makes the mistake, loses the back end, and he is out of the race, out of the session, and, well, that is going to change this race completely.
And now this is gonna get quite interesting, because we got a safety car. Less than 10 laps to go. I hope people will go for the soft tires. I think.
Indeed, they will. Are. Yeah.
And now, oh boy, now we got a sprint race in our hands for the for the great finale of this race. So we thought like people like Loris, Lamau, yes, and Tamer were not really in a position to win the race, but well, here we go once again. In LLC, you never know what's gonna happen next, and now everyone is in the point position, because there are no out of the points position left.
Yep. Yeah, if you finish the race, you will be scoring points today, so let's
even if you don't really.
Well, yeah, you've got to make it to the penultimate lap to actually be classified in the points. So yeah, let's see how long people can last. Yeah, even if you crash out in P8 or something like that, if you're not onto the final lap of the race, then you will not be given any points for that. So yeah,
I swear I didn't know that rule. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if people can hold off crashing until the last lap at least, so that they can book their points in, but hopefully they can take it all the way to the checkered flag. But obviously that's clearly going to be quite optimistic from what we've seen today. But yeah, this is going to completely change the complexion of the race. It was getting quite spread out, and it seemed like Levente was probably sizing up after the mistake at least, or even before the mistake. He was sizing up to take the victory here, but that's going to be all, I suppose, thrown out of the window now, and he's going to be perhaps quite disappointed with that safety car, I'd imagine, because he's going to have to fend off from Tamer, Lamau, yes, Loris, who's going to be back with a vengeance in this race now, I'm sure. Probably trying to get some revenge, perhaps, on the Ferrari, who's going to be ahead of him, and then the two Alpha Tauris getting in as well.
thinking about it, I think actually Loris is not really too happy of the safety car, mainly because with that 6-second penalty, everyone is gonna get,
True.
bunched up, and yeah, that's not gonna be really too good for him.
Yeah, he may be back in track position, but unfortunately, come the end of this one, he's going to lose quite a bit of time. But obviously, Hashima knows it could be worse. 17 seconds of penalties for him. His day is basically consigned to stay on the track, keep the tyres on the car, and hope that everybody else crashes around him, because there's not really any chance that he's able to make up more places at this point, as he, almost has his own accident under the safety car. So perhaps I should stop spectating him and leave him be in peace.
Too much pressure for me.
A commentator's curse has been strong today, unfortunately. But yeah. We're going to have at least one more lap of safety car. I reckon this will be the last one. So that will be, at the end of this lap, that will leave us with, I think, 6 laps of racing, if my math is correct. And that will be to decide the winner of the race. Although, that said, in Miami, we also had, we had 7 laps in Miami, and we were still able to squeeze in another safety car there. So this may yet not be the last one.
I mean, guys, eyes open on the first chicane. And, well, get ready, because stuff is about to go down here.
Yeah, it's going to be very intense at the end of this race. It was looking like it was going to be one of the tamest races, I suppose, in terms of wheel-to-wheel action. There was just so many people out of the race that there wasn't enough cars really to fight each other. But, yeah, all of that's been changed now. We've got the safety car. And, yeah, this is going to be a very entertaining end to the race. I will just check quickly. Everybody, yeah, is on fresh soft tyres. So, yeah, no advantage, no disadvantage. It's all going to be down to a matter of skill, and a matter of skill in terms of keeping your car on the track and out of other cars. So let's see how that goes, and obviously keep an eye on penalties as well towards the end of the race. That will be very important. So yeah, it's going to be a very entertaining end to this race here.
And lads in the chat, please place your bets, because this is gonna go in either two ways. Either a glorious final battle for the win, or a shitfest like we've seen many times over. But now, safety car in this lap, we're getting ready for the green flag, and I'll just leave the commentary to our best commentator here, which is Kulas, so up to you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure, and I think things are about to get very tasty here for the final 6 laps of this race. So, Levente is going to be backing everybody up quite a bit here. You've got to make sure to stay over a certain speed limit, which I'm not sure he's doing right now, so perhaps he might be in some strife with the stewards after the race, so you might just want to keep that in mind. Perhaps the results will be changed, but here we go. He's going to go a little bit early, before the final corner even, and that seems to have helped him get a good jump on Tama, so the Haas might just be safe heading towards the first chicane of this lap here. But what can everybody else do behind him? We've got the 2 Alpha Tauris side by side here. It's iLectrains and MaxCon. Yeah, you're right. Side by side up at the front of the field. Tama tried to go the long way round, but he was never alongside enough, as hopping the curb is Hashima there. I did tell him to keep it clean, but unfortunately he's not listened to that so far. But yeah, iLectrains is going to be ahead of MaxCon then, and it is Levente Kiss just about ahead of Tama, but Tama looking hungry in P2 here.
And now we are back racing, and once again we can see the battle for the lead between Tamer and Levante Kiss. We saw Tamer getting a little bit of a look, or maybe an half look into turn 1, but of course without DRS and without too much, let's say, leisure, had to abort the overtaking maneuver and wait maybe for a bit of a better chance, even though there's the Ferrari of Lamau, yes, right behind him, which is of course taking a look and maybe thinking about an overtake over here, and also Loris, which of course is hunting for blood here and is looking red, because it's not really too much hungry, but he's looking at the back of the Ferrari, so that's the ready thing. And now we are getting ready for the main straight, for once again a battle for the lead between the Tamer, the Haas, and of course the Levante. We'll see who's gonna win, the good, the bad, or the ugly.
Yeah, well, hopefully the ugly option is that they come together, so let's hope that we're able to avoid that this time. And yeah, it seems like Levente does have still that same straight line speed that he had earlier on, and that's going to help him stay single file into turn 1 this time, or into turn 2. I will continue to get that wrong, I'm sure, but yeah, we've got 5 laps to go now. And it is everybody just starting to spread out a little bit. Obviously, no DRS just yet, but I think once the DRS comes online at the end of the next lap, things are going to get very interesting here. So it's far from over just yet, even if things are staying cool a little bit right now. This is very much the calm before the storm, I'd imagine.
I mean, it's already storming outside. It's gonna get even more windy when the DRS gets open, of course. But now, let's see, Tamer still keeping it very close, very inside track limits. Very nice, of course, through this section, which is, as you may know, if you ever drive in the Formula 1 games or even in other driving sims, it's not an easy part of the track. And now, let's see, 4/10, which is, of course, enough for the DRS, but of course, no DRS is enabled. And it's all about battery and battery usage for the people here. And people probably are not using too much battery, if not for defending, because they know it's going to be quite useful when the DRS gets activated exactly right now. So now with the battle brewing, let's see if Tamer has enough strong straight line speed to try and attack. He's getting closer, but I don't think it's close enough, even though the Haas gets a little bit defensive, but not too much. And now into turn 1, a little bit wide from the Haas to Tamburello, and the Ferrari gets close enough to maybe trying something into Villeneuve. Let's see right now if he can do something. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it was just clipped the grass ever so slightly from Levente there, so just a minor mistake, but not showing any signs of cracking under pressure just yet, so he's got 4 more laps to withstand, but obviously now, at the end of this lap, it will be DRS for the 4 drivers behind him, and it does seem to be a 4-way fight here, and 3-way if you include Loris's penalty, as I like trains in Mexico, and just like in the actual, well, in the rest of the race, they have dropped back a bit here, so we'll see what those guys are able to do, if they're able to close back up, perhaps if everything does boil over here, then maybe they're not out of it just yet, you can still see them at the back of the picture, but here we go. Heading towards the detection point now for the first time with DRS enabled. You can see using a little bit of ERS there was Tamet, just trying to make sure he's well within a good position to go for the move here, because he wants to be turn 1 by the time, he wants to be P1 by the time he gets to turn 1 here.
And this is the finest racing we have ever pursued here in LLC, but now the battle for the lead is on. DRS gets open and Tamer gets into the inside towards Tamburello, and let's see, it's overtake done before the braking zone. And now he's gonna try and run away with the Haas right behind him, which is of course not gonna let him go away as much as he would like to.
Yeah, as Kateshi gets the move done on Jakarta there, and I think the Haas is just going to stay ahead of Cooper for the time being. But yeah, it's Tamer into the lead now, makes the move nice and cleanly, and Elias got very close to almost getting his own nose alongside of the other Haas driver into turn 2 there, but not quite close enough just yet, so he's still well within the fight here, but doesn't quite seem to have that same pace advantage that we've seen from him in previous races, so we'll see what he can do here in the final few laps. There's now another mistake here. This time it's from Levente, and Elias is going to be right on the back here, but he's not able to get alongside. You just cannot go wheel to wheel into that chicane, so he's going to have to settle in behind, and I think Tamer actually lost a bit of time as well. Yeah, he's made his own mistake, so now Levente is going to be right on the back of the Williams. It's everybody's starting to struggle a little bit here. Obviously the tyres won't last particularly long, so perhaps that's starting to play a bit of a factor, but it's going to be Tamer who's still in P1 as they head towards the DRS zone here, and I suspect it's going to be all change heading towards turn 1, because here comes Levente Kiss, here comes Elias on Levente Kiss. They might even have to go 3 wide here. Indeed they will. Elias is trying to look for it, but he has to back out, and so it's going to be Levente up the inside into turn 1. Can Elias follow him through? No, he gets squeezed onto the curb. Loris is going to try and get through now, but he's going to be on the outside of turn 4, can't find a way through, and is going to have to tuck back in behind the Ferrari, and somehow everything stays the same apart from Levente retaking the lead onto the penultimate lap of the race.
An incredible racecraft from all 4 of them, and now we get towards almost towards the last lap, and also the last occasion for everyone to do an overtake. So if I have to place my bets, I think it's gonna be either Tamer or Levente Case. So we're gonna have to see at the end of the first corner, at the end of the final lap, who's gonna come through the final corner in first position. So we now just have to watch and see what Tamer can do through the chicane. Variante Alta, Cooper gets a penalty, but I mean, it's not really what we were looking for. But now, let's see, 5/10 separates P1 and P2, getting towards the last 2 corners, which I forgot the name for. So left-hander.
Yes, Ravazza, here we go. Out of Ravazza 2. And onto the final lap of the race they will go. It's going to be Tamer, who's second place right now. There's no long straight before the checkered flag here, so this might be the best chance. Here we go. Tamer is going to go for it here. Running out of battery is the Haas, so round the outside goes Tamer, and he gets the lead of the race onto the final lap. So all he has to do at this point is keep things clean and make sure that that Haas doesn't make any dive bombs into the final few corners of the race here, but he is right on the back. Meanwhile, we've got a yellow flag in the first sector. I think everybody's still going though, so that's most important thing, Hashem has tried to make a move, even though he's got 23 seconds of penalties. So everybody still showing the fighting spirit here, even with all of the penalties that are going on in this race. And now Hashima getting his way up into P5 as well. So yeah, it's far from over just yet.
And we can see Tamer is actually giving 100%, 110% here in this last part of the race, because 4 tenths, 5 tenths, and he's trying to run away as fast as possible, while the Haas behind him is trying to hope for a little bit of a mistake under pressure, maybe to try and do something. He went all in.
There's a mistake.
In the chicane,
he makes the mistake
himself. The wrong car, and the Ferrari is going for it on the external part of the last 2 corners. Let's see who is gonna pull it off into the braking zone.
So close to slide in both of them.
Big slide from the Ferrari. I think Loris may
Elias
have a run.
slides. It's going to be close between those guys, but it's going to be Tamer who gets his revenge for last week, takes P1, and Levente just about holds P2. Elias has to sell for third. He couldn't make it work on the outside. Massive rear locking into the final corner. It's going to be, well, it's pandemonium over the line. Somebody's lost the front wing. Cooper, in the end of it, gets P5 by virtue of not having penalties, and Loris is just about able to hold P4, but what a finish once again.
I think it's actually P6, because I saw the Haas being classified as DNF for some reason. So I think the game actually got a little bit wrong on the race results. But yeah, what a final few race laps we got here. Very dramatic race also. And yeah, let's take a little bit of a break and watch the podium celebration by the Williams.
Yeah, it was a brilliant race from all of those guys, and Tamer, in the end of it, he is able to do what he couldn't do this time last week, so the theme continues. You get second, and then you're able to get first. So Tamer, on the final lap, gets himself top step of the podium and his first win of the season, so great job by him. And yeah, a valiant effort by Levente to come home in P2 still. It was unfortunate for him. And had things worked out a little bit differently, had there been one extra lap, who knows, he might have just been able to take the win himself. But we'll have to wait and see if he's able to keep the theme running and get himself the win next week. But yeah, it's going to be...
I can't help but laugh at the fact that Electrace was showed on the podium, even though he was not really there.
I was going to say, there's that will be, I'm sure, fixed after the race results, unless Levente did actually crash before the line, in which case I don't know what the stewards are going to do about that. But yeah, he should be second place from Elias in P3. Then I Like Trains will say that he's will say that he's going to be P4. Then Loris P5, Cooper P6, and Maxcon ends up only P7 in the end of things, so a few places behind his teammate after a 5-second penalty, I believe he had. Then Yokata P8, Kateshi P9, and Hashima will, of course, round off the points with his 23 seconds of penalties in P10. And then it's, yeah, non-finishers from the rest of the way out. Nardo, Timbleish, Malb, Blazer, Davey, and Bacon Boys, all of them not making it to the checkered flags after a very, very hectic race here in Imola. So, yeah, from that hectic race, we will give you now a chance to take a break, take a breather, and, yeah, maybe go grab a glass of water, because I know I sure need it. So yeah, we'll see you in a few minutes' time for some driver interviews and with the driver of the day poll as well. So yeah, we'll catch you then.
Let's go.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We have had ourselves a nice little 5-minute break after a very hectic Imola Grand Prix, or Italian Grand Prix, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, we are here again for the driver interviews. We have the driver of the day poll in the chat. That's in the chat and also in the Twitch chat, so you can go and vote on that. And hopefully we'll remember to announce the winner at the end of the race, or at the end of the stream. So let's get things started with our first of the driver interviews, and why not start with our first place finisher. Let's get Tamer in if he's ready. Tamer, hello.
Hello.
You ready for an interview?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, that was I think that was you'll agree, vengeance for last week, I suppose. Did what you couldn't do there, and were able to get the move done on the final lap of the race and take home the win. But there was also a very chaotic race that happened before that. So how did it go for you?
Yeah, I mean, finally to something go my way and win is always appreciable. And yeah, it was very chaotic, and I was a bit lucky in half the race, so that also went my way. But yeah, I mean, the most chaotic part was the last part of the race after the safety car restart. Yeah, especially that last lap, everyone got caught up and with what happened behind. Should get reviewed, but it is what it is. I'm happy with my first place, and yeah, looking forward for next week.
Yeah, I think it was unfortunately a very scrappy race, but you did a very good job to keep things clean and avoid getting any penalties, as well as getting into incidents, which ended up being quite important, especially further down the grid. Do you think you would have been able to win this race on raw pace if there wasn't a safety car?
Personally, I don't think so, because I came into this race with zero practice, and yeah, I was just very busy this weekend, so I didn't have the right like what's it called practice. But yeah, safety cars helped a lot, and with I forgot the Mercedes name crashing out and its 9-second penalties, that gave me a bit of hope. But yeah, I mean, I also had 2 warnings, so I had to like be very cautious after
see.
lap like 18 or something. So yeah, managed to make it work at the end.
Yeah, I think you did. With that in mind, I think you did a very good job. So, I mean, yeah, top step of the podium. Do you think you're going to be able to keep fighting for wins this season?
I mean, yeah, this is just only the beginning. I just take a couple of races to get my groove, and then yeah, from here on, it's just full send.
Good to hear it. I mean, it's been an upward trend so far. So yeah, for your sake, I wish you the best of luck with that, and long may it continue. So, yeah, Max, do you have any questions?
During the last few laps, were you actually thinking about, the positioning? How can I say this correctly? Because, here in Imola, like, once you get ahead, the guy behind has DRS and they can overtake you back, so you kind of want to stay back before the start of the last lap. So were you actually thinking about this, or were you actually thinking about, keeping the pace as high as possible? Or I don't know, what was going through your head during the last few laps?
No, the last few laps, definitely I had to keep in mind, because the DRS tree is very powerful, and I did the math quickly enough to know that, okay, if I let him go at this lap, then I would, hypothetically, if we would exchange leads each lap, I would be leading by the end. Well, yeah, that's why I slowed down in the lap before the final. I slowed down massively, so he's right up my diffuser, so I can ensure that he's gonna overtake me, so I can stay with him until, yeah. But that got a little bit messy at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out in the end, so great stuff.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a very smart strategy by you then, and yeah, and ended up with you winning the race. So very good job with that. How do you feel you'll be able to do next week then in Qatar?
See, the thing is, and I keep saying it, the calendar is against me, but I will try my best, and I will practice as much as I can. And yeah, high hopes, definitely guaranteed podium, hopefully, and looking forward for the race win next weekend.
Sounds good. Best of luck with that.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah, I think there's some ominous words there, I suppose, from Tamer, who's, like I say, but he's been on an upward trajectory all season. It's just results have been improving, and now he's finally got his first win. So yeah, we'll see if that continues, or if other drivers are able to get in the way of that and see if Levente is able to keep the weird trend of drivers losing the win on the final lap and then winning it on the final lap the next race going, because that has happened 3 times now. So yeah, but we'll see if it keeps happening. But yeah, anyway, we'll go on to the next interview, which I will do as the next position, which would be Levente's not here, so that will be Lamono. Let's get him in. Elias, hello.
Hello.
Well, how was the race for you today? It was very chaotic for us. There was a lot going on, and in the end of it, you able to walk away with, I'm gonna say P3 question mark. I don't know why Levente didn't get given P2 over the line. I didn't actually see, but P2 or P3? I think P3. But yeah, how do you feel it went for you, and do you think you could have done better?
Yeah, I made a few mistakes, especially at the end, but yeah, the race wasn't clean today. I mean, it was very annoying. It's just this track, honestly, racing wheel to wheel is literally impossible. So kind of expected this to happen. So yep, I have a few things to report. So I hope they go well, and yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. But worst case scenario, it's a P3.
Yeah, it was. You were involved in quite a few incidents in that race, unfortunately, as were most people, to be honest. It was, like you say, it's incredibly difficult to go wheel-to-wheel racing here, but yeah, it was. I mean, only 2 safety cars in the end of things. I suppose it could have been worse. Although, yeah, it's still only 10 finishes is never something you like to see. But yeah, I think you did still a good job given the circumstances. You're able to keep yourself in contention the whole time and able to at least walk away with a podium. So, yeah, do you think you're going to be able to bounce back next week?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Qatar should be a better track. Basically, second home race. I mean, the country's right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it goes well next week. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, nothing more to say.
All right. Max, you have anything to ask?
Not really. I don't have many questions. I mean, I hope it was. I would like to say an enjoyable race, but I know that it's kind of difficult to enjoy many crashes happening. So I just hope that is. How would I say it in English? You know, my mind is thinking in Italian, but it's not coming up in English. So.
Fair enough.
How can I say that? Like, you're pleased with the results. Like, yeah, let's say that.
Satisfied.
Yeah, satisfied. Yep.
Satisfied. I mean, the minimum I would want is P3. Like P3 would be worst case scenario. Anything lower than P3 is a bad race. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, maybe the guys ahead possibly get a penalty. If not, then I'll settle with the P3. It's fine. I'll just go again next week.
Alrighty then.
All right. Well, it's, yeah. Good luck with bouncing back from that one and getting back to your usual place at the top step of the podium.
Thank you. See ya.
All right. See ya.
Right. See ya.
Yeah, I mean, you get to hear the expectations of a title challenger there. Anything less than top 3 is a bad race. That's I could only dream of saying such a sentence, but obviously that's it's not the case for most of us. But Elias is not exactly most of us when it comes to being in this game. So yeah, we'll see if he's able to get back towards the front of the field next week. And I would like to see, hopefully, we're able to have our new Mercedes driver, whose name I definitely didn't forget. Hopefully they're able to. Hopefully those 2 are able to have a proper fight next time around. But yeah, we will move on to our next position, which will be Loris, I believe. Let's get him in. Loris, hello.
Okay, goodbye, Loris.
Not Loris. Never mind. Oh no, Loris, hello.
Hello.
Hello. All right. Sorry to interrupt. Whatever important things you were surely doing. Yeah. How was that very messy race for you?
Yeah, I mean, the spins. I'm so sorry. The spins and the penalties I made weren't too ideal, but at the end, it didn't make a difference because I would have finished fourth anyway. So
Fair
I
enough.
don't have much more to say, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. I think is there. I would ask if there's anything that you'd want to say about maybe other drivers in the race, because it did seem you did get involved in a few incidents here and there, but I don't know if you want to be cordial. I'm not sure if that's the right word, or professional, I guess, and just keep that in the steward's room.
I think the most significant incident I can remember is the one with Elias, and apart from that, I don't know, maybe a minor contact, but didn't see much more else.
Fair enough. Yeah. Do you think you could have had things gone differently? Do you think you could have done better today, or you think it would have still been P4 in the end?
Would have been still before in the end if I didn't spin, if I didn't get time penalties. So I think it was the maximum for me today.
All right. Yeah, I think a lot of drivers weren't particularly experienced with this track, I suppose, going into it. So, yeah, that's kind of understandable. Do you think you'll be any better in Qatar next week?
Um, qualifying pace probably not. Maybe race pace, but yeah, we will see. Last season it went quite well, so maybe this season it will go even better. We'll see.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck with that. Max, you have anything to ask?
Yes. Will you race with a Formula One car?
I'm gonna race with Renault Clio from 1999.
Let's fucking go, boy.
I think I will have the
Hell
best
yeah.
straight line speed ever.
The Renault engine has always been the quickest. You just have to believe.
Till it explodes.
And that's a
Yeah.
fact.
Okay,
And with
well,
that, and with that bombshell, we conclude tonight interview.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Good luck with your race next week. Hope your engine doesn't explode or anything else, and hopefully Codemasters can actually let us have a normal race for once.
Yeah, that would help a lot and save us a lot of time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll save you some time and yeah, say goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya. All right. And yeah, I suppose that's kind of to be expected. It was neither here nor there for Loris. Nothing too exciting, but nothing terrible either. So yeah, we'll go to the next person in the list, which is, I think that's going to be MaxCon. Let me get him in. MaxCon, hello. You ready for an interview?
Yes.
All right. So let me just check. Was it P7 you finished in the end, I think?
I think it was P6.
Okay. Was that P6 with Levente being removed from the order for some reason, or was that without that?
I don't know.
Yeah, he was, for some reason, he was not classified from the final finishing order, and I don't know why. So I think that might be P7 for you. I'm not sure. Either way, still, how did the you were racing with your teammate for a lot of the race, and yeah, how did that go for you?
It kind of all fell apart by the end, but yeah, so first start of the race, I had a bit of contact with Cooper, but yeah, it was one of those lap one incidents where he couldn't really do anything. It was just had nowhere to go, he had nowhere to go, and we came together. And then we had a safety car, and after the safety car, I had a disconnect. Then I had to reconnect, lost a few positions because of that. Yeah, after that, I was just kind of doing my race. Then Lawrence caught up to me, I let him pass, and then I took his DRS for a few laps. We were pretty evenly matched on pace. Then he overtook me at one point, went into the pits shortly after. After the pits, he was on me. And then Trains made his pit stop. He was on mediums. I was on hards, so he overtook me again. And then a second safety car came out. I misjudged the pit entry, got a penalty. And I tried to push. I overtook Trains after the safety car eventually. And then he overtook me in the final lap. He outbraked himself, went wide, and rejoined. And you know, the curbs in Imola, they are kind of stupid. So came back on the track really awkwardly, and then I got front wing damage. And yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good way to end the race, unfortunately. So where do you think you could have finished then?
It could have been top 5 easily.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, that's that is unfortunate, but still, I suppose it's still good points in the bank for you, and just not the ideal way to win, but still, I think you did a good job in that race. And yeah, was there a strategy to what you and Trains were doing?
I know we didn't talk to each other, but I thought, okay, he was catching up to me. I better let him pass, and yeah, our pace is kind of similar. Was kind of similar in this race, and just decided to follow him, take his DRS, see if I can get an advantage out of that. And by the end, there wasn't really a strategy. I just wanted to get past because of the 5-second penalty, and I didn't expect him to actually re-overtake me in the final lap. But it was
Okay.
unfortunate.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of a miscommunication then, but yeah, either way, it's, I think still a decent race by you. And yeah, do you think you can? Well, how do you think you'll do in Qatar next time out?
I don't know, man. Like Qatar, I'm just not friends with that track. Last time I think I had a DNF, really in a really awkward way. I don't know. I mean, I'm just not that good at Qatar, so I guess I'll just be aiming for finishing, and everything else will be a bonus.
Fair enough. I mean, to be fair, if it's anything like today's race, then by finishing, you'd be able to get yourself some points. So yeah, we'll see. Although I think Qatar is going to be a bit more normal considering the acres of runoff. So yeah, Max, you have anything else you want to ask?
But, well, I mean, the only thing I want to say is that you know what they say. To finish to first the finish the when you finish the race, like yeah, that thing, yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
I think
Couldn't
Ralf
agree more.
Schumacher said that, didn't he?
Yeah, probably something
He
like
did.
that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, with those wise words in mind, good luck for next week. Make sure not to forget that, and I'm sure that will help you get some very good points on the board once again.
Oh, thanks.
All right. See ya.
So yeah.
And that's just the kind of advice that you get on an LRC stream here. So you can thank us later. Yeah, I'll make sure to use that in my race tomorrow, and it will definitely work. And surely I will win again.
Sure, if
Anyway,
let's if you wanna condemn him later, you can do.
Yeah. Well, who's going to be our next interview? I think next one is going to be Cooper. Let's get him in. I think I should have actually done Cooper before Max Gun, but oh well.
Oh, well,
Whatever.
a little bit of a mistake.
Cooper, hello.
Oh, hello there.
Hello. Well, I think a chaotic race for all of us, but I didn't see too much of your race, I'm going to be honest. So yeah, I'll just ask, how did it go for you? Because you got a very good result in the end.
Lap 1 incident. Didn't start very well. I got right through in the VSC as well. Basically, it was a lonely race up until the safety car. I had good pace, but like nothing to show for it because I was so far behind. But then safety car and everybody had chaos, and I was supposed to finish like somewhere in P8, P9, and then people sort of destroyed each other. So I just stayed clean, and yeah,
Yeah, I think
it was fun.
Yeah, it seemed like depending on your definition of fun, it seemed like a fun race today for some people. But yeah, I think the most important thing today was definitely just stay within track limits and stay out of the side pods of other cars, and you'll probably score some pretty decent points, which is exactly what worked for you.
Yeah,
So,
that's exactly what happened.
yeah, so yeah, good job on keeping things clean. That's
Thank you.
nice to see you go a race without a mistake. That's good, and long may that continue.
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
how do you think you'll be able to do for next week's race?
Depending if I'll even be here. But if I will, I'll probably Qatar is like one of my faves, so I'll probably it's gonna be good. It's gonna be as chaotic, but it's gonna be as good. So let's see.
All right. Well, that's. I mean, I was going to say saying it'll be as chaotic as a bold prediction, considering the walls, but then again, it's LSE, so predicting not chaos is probably a bad decision. So yeah, you know
I do
what?
agree.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. All right. Well, Max, you have anything to ask?
Yeah, a quick question. Do you prefer the red or the green safety car?
The blue.
Great.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
with that mind-bending discovery, I wish you the best of luck for next race.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.
So yeah,
Blue safety car. Who could have predicted this?
I mean, we got blue flags, so why not a blue safety car?
Fair enough. I'm gonna have Red Bull safety cars now.
One day.
One
One
day.
day we will.
All right, and that leaves us with one more person to interview. Although, I mean, okay, Sol is there, but Sol didn't drive, and also I don't think engineered, so I don't know if Sol's getting interviewed, or maybe he'll just join anyway. I don't know. But we do have Aero, who was engineering, so let's get him in and see how he was able to help guide Ferrari through this race. Aero, hello.
Hello.
Well, it was. This was your home race today. Well, Ferrari's home race, I suppose, and I'm assuming you were engineering for them.
Yes, I was.
Of course. Okay, so yeah, how do you feel the race went? And I imagine it was quite a tricky one, and especially to try and keep the drivers in the right headspace and stuff like that. So yeah, how was it from your perspective?
Well, the base plan, like the game plan was set. We knew what we had to do, but then the last safety car basically just reshuffled everything, basically. I don't have a better way to say it. Just just reshuffled everything. It was basically just a 5-lapper at the end. It's basically what it was. And yeah, with a few incidents here and there, I guess it was like tougher to progress. Seeing as we didn't have our main strategy to put us at an advantage. But I guess we just didn't manage well enough at the end in the last few laps after the last safety car. Also, well, there was a bit of contact with Tamer, which I don't want to discredit him for his win. It was really well done by him. And there was also previous contact with Levente, Loris, just Nardo as well in the first in turn 1, who closed the door. So yeah, it was a tough race. Definitely not the result we expected, but I mean, as Elias got involved in a lot of incidents, there's still gonna be tickets to make, and yeah, we'll see if we get any positions there and we get compensated for what we lost on track.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I'll be honest, I wasn't able to. Yeah, I mean, I think we caught most of it on stream, but I'm not able to remember that much. My memory is really not that good. So yeah, I'll take your word for it. It sounded about right, everything you said. And yeah, I imagine it must have been an interesting challenge today for you as an engineer, at least, if not, even if it didn't end up going the right way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we also had the tier 2 guys with me, also trying to help out to gather information about other people and stuff. So they were a bit of an help as well, which is good. But yeah, not much they could have helped, or we could have helped when there was so many incidents in which we got involved. And yeah, of course, I mean, Elias still was quite focused for the whole race, so he did well on that front. He remained calm the whole race, so that is already something that is good to see from him. Yeah, and regarding Hashim, of course, well, he's not able to really speak to us, but he's in the VC and he can hear us. So that's, yeah, the communication is a bit reduced, but still, I mean, we got the strategy spot on, I think, with him as well. But yeah, a few mistakes on his side regarding track limits, which he farmed quite a bit. But yeah, something that we definitely know we need to improve for the next races.
Yeah, and yeah, I think track limits will be quite a theme next week if well, online lobbies or anything to go by, I suppose. But yeah, so next week, what's your plan for that? How do you think you're gonna do?
To be completely honest, a double win is in the cards, both tier 1 and tier 2.
Okay.
But yeah, if everything goes to plan, of course that is. But yeah, if it's not a double win, then we won't be satisfied.
All right, that's high expectations. That's what I like to hear. Fight and talk. It's very good. But also, that was your mistake. You did just say that live on the LRCF1 Twitch stream, and you have just cursed yourself. So, yeah, good luck with overcoming that. That's going to make your job much more difficult now. But yeah, still, on a real note, I think you did a good job today. And Max, you have anything else to ask?
Oh,
No, I don't think I have questions really.
okay.
I was
Sort of
thinking
weird
about
thing to say.
something, but I don't think I have insightful questions, so I think I'll leave it like that.
All right.
Fair enough. Wait, hang on. No, Max, you do have an important question.
No.
No.
I mean, I would
we
I'd
need
like
know.
to ask how painful it was to, do the race strategy for Ferrari, but I think it's quite. We already know the answer to that, so.
Oh, okay.
No, I was going to say we need to know which color is his favorite.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Which
also
safety
yes.
car?
Which color is the safety car? I don't know. I
Yeah,
didn't
which color?
really pay attention to
No,
that.
which color? Which safety car color is your favorite?
Oh, red. Yeah.
All right, boring.
Not
Predictable.
the blue one.
You
I know,
get out of
sorry.
here. Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, see you next week.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good luck.
Insightful questions.
Got to get the important ones in at the end.
We got the right
All
one.
right, well, yeah, I think that is going to be that's going to be all of the interviews. So let's move on to the final section of the stream, and then I promise we'll let you go. It has been a while, but let's move on to the clips for stream. We do have the first one done already, of course, from MaxCon, and I can't actually find. Where do we start here? We have ones from Phil, even though he wasn't racing. So I guess we'll go with that. Yeah, Phil seems to have onboards from other drivers, so let's start with those. If I can switch to the right scene. There we go. And yeah, let's have a look at this one from Blazer. And I imagine this is going to be the replay of the crash that took out two cars. Let's have a look at this. Ah, I see. Hit the curb and then boom. Yeah, it's taken straight out. That was. It's a very easy mistake to make. I don't know if you were watching that, Max.
Yeah, well, I was watching, but yeah, sadly, it's one of those mistakes that can just happen, and you can't really do too much about it if not, try and drive a little bit more carefully or conservatively.
Yeah, it's just
unfortunate.
Unfortunate, I suppose. Yeah, and unfortunately, it did end up in ruining quite a few people's races. But yeah, that is such is the nature of Imola. The massive curbs everywhere are a big hazard, and it almost makes it effectively act like a bit of a street circuit, just with grass around, because the curbs might as well be walls. They're that big. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. We actually have another one from Phil, and this is just of another angle of the accident. If I can actually pull that up. There we go. Let's have a look at this one. And yeah, that's just from the Mercedes of Davey there, who just had absolutely nowhere to go and taken straight out. So yeah, nothing that could have been done to avoid that, really.
It just happens, sadly.
Yeah. Alright, next clip is going to be from Yokata. Let's have a look at this one. And this is from lap 1 of the race. Don't know which attempt. Okay, this is attempt 2. And let's see what happens here. Yeah. Just 5, I think that was 5 cars just went completely off the track there. So that was, that was what we didn't catch on lap 1. That was where we had so many cars stuck in the gravel. So we have Cooper, I Like Trains, Kateshi, Temblesh. My God, and then Bacon Boys as well, all getting involved.
Yeah, a little crash, nothing. A little incident, as we say sometimes. So
yeah, the smallest accident in LRC.
The cleanest race.
Yeah, actually. Okay, well let's move on to some other clips. See if any of them are of clean racing. I'm sure that's not going to happen. We've got one from MaxCon here. Oh my God! I did not see that.
I'm not sure that's the correct way to get into the pit lane, but yeah, sure.
I think he was trying to go to Hogwarts, not the pit lane.
Maybe. Maybe we can
Yeah,
hope.
that's well, I didn't actually see that at the time, but apparently that's why Bacon Boys DNF'd. So there you go. That was yeah, very bizarre, I have to say.
Can't balk there, mate.
Yeah, he was inventing his own line. We'll leave him be.
We'll let him know.
Next clip. Yeah, next clip is going to be again from Yokata here. And this is, oh, wow. Oof, that was very, very close to getting involved there, but just about avoids it somehow. But yeah, there's just total chaos ahead of him, and the Aston Martin just swings out of nowhere. That's Malb with no front wing, and almost takes a Haas out of the race there. But yeah, very good evasive action there from Yokata.
Yeah, just enough avoiding action to avoid the big crash, let's say.
Mm-hmm. And let's move to the next one. Keep that thing going. There we go. Let's move to the next one. This is going to be from the other Haas of Levante Kiss, and this is on lap number 9 of the race. Let's take a look. So I think maybe this one's going to be a clean move, or maybe not. Who knows? Roll the dice, place your bets now. We're going to go around the outside of Loris here, and then I think we're going to go for another move on the outside of Tamit, and almost hit the back of Nardo there, but just about get it stopped. And yeah, a clean move. Nicely done.
Surprisingly, yep, in the top 4 there was clean racing.
Oh, very nearly not clean though. There's very nearly 3 cars out of the race.
I mean,
yeah.
Almost clean. We were kinda there, let's say.
Yeah. It you know what? All that matters is that in the end nobody got taken out. So I say that is perfectly clean. Yeah. We'll wait and see what kind of bombshell the steward's dropping us. But yeah, here we go. This is attempt 1 of the start, and just about making it through cleanly was Maxcon there.
The concept.
Yeah, safety car straight out. Hideki Naganuma's new song. Yeah, nice evasive driving once again there from the AlphaTauri. And unfortunately that didn't actually mean anything in the end, because that was, obviously, that race did have to be reset. Another one from Yokata here. Let's have a look. And this is going to be, I think, the contact there from I Like Trains. Yeah, this is what we caught earlier on in the race. And yeah, I have to say that was in no way Yokata's fault. I think I Like Trains might get in a bit of trouble for that one.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope not, because in the end I Like Trains did a very nice race, but yeah, we'll see what the stewards decide.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Yokata, just, yeah, taken out wasn't really his fault, and unfortunately dropped down to the back of the field, but was still able to score some points at the end, so not all bad for him. And actually, we have another clip from him, so let's see this one. This is from the final lap of the race here, and heading into Aqua Minerale. You can see Loris getting, oh sorry, that's Hashima and Maxcon, and now getting hit again. It's deja vu for Yokata. We didn't even see that one, so that was why he ended up towards the bottom of the top 10. Just, I think that was from Kateshi. Yeah, Kateshi just on the exit of Aqua Minerale taps him round, and yeah, it's very unfortunate for Yokata.
Yep, unfortunate. That's all we can say.
Indeed. Alright, next one is going to be from Maxcon, and I think there's not too many more after that, I think. But yeah, let's take a look at this one. This is also from the final lap, and I think this is going to be what he was talking about in his interview here. Train's going for the re-overtake, which he wasn't expecting. And then, yeah, runs deep, hits the curbs, and then, oh, nothing you could do about that. That's, again, much like all of the other incidents, that is just very unfortunate for Maxcon, really.
Yeah, sadly, once again an unfortunate accident, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have to say, I'm very impressed by the drivers that more people didn't do that. It's very easy to do there, so perhaps we're going to be seeing that in Tier 2 tomorrow, I don't know.
We will find out.
And I think that was actually, yeah, that was the last clip, so there you go. I predicted that nicely, and what we will do now is announce the driver of the day that I haven't forgotten to do. That makes twice in a row, so look at me go. And actually, never mind, we're not going to announce that just yet because we have a tie at the moment between Levente and I Like Trains. So I will have to make a runoff poll, which, yeah, that one is going to be decided after the stream. So make sure to join the server and have a look in Tier 1 League chat to see who, to see who comes out on top of that one. I'll have to get around to doing that in a second, but that is going to be the end of the race for today. So, yeah, what are your final thoughts?
I think this was surely one of the races ever.
Indeed, couldn't have said it better myself. It's, it's crazy how every race we always say the same thing. This was always one of the races.
I mean, every time we are not wrong, so
exactly.
Why shouldn't we say that?
Exactly. We will keep saying it because it's always going to be true, apart from when Codemasters don't even let us race, and then there will be no race. And then it will be one of the qualifyings ever. Which is almost what happened today, but thankfully not. So, yeah, I'm glad that we got a race in the end, and thankfully it did end up being, though very chaotic, we did manage to get ourselves a nice little fight for the win. So, yeah, that is going to be it for today's race then. Make sure to follow the stream because we'll be back with part 2 of this, effectively. Hopefully a bit cleaner, but I'm not going to... I would encourage you not to be too hopeful. We're going to have part 2 of this in, 24 hours' time. The Tier 2 race, once again, back in Imola, which I will be racing in. And, yeah, please wish me the best of luck because I will need it. But, yeah, make sure to follow the stream. We'll be back again 7 PM GMT tomorrow for that race. And yeah, for now, that is going to be all for me, and we will all for me and Max, I should say, and we will see you next week in Qatar.
See ya.
My favorite face.